Hey besties, how you doing? It's me, Waddles, and it's time. Oh, it's definitely time. Over the course of this week, even if you don't have ears, you've already heard. There's been 3 big new Minecraft mob reveals. Today, right here together, us two, me and you, we're gonna take a look at all of them and everything that you need to know. Without further delay, do me a favor and delete that like button. And if you do, I promise the mob that you want to win will definitely win the mob vote. Oh yeah, and tell me who you want to win down below. Let's go. This year's mob vote madness kicked off earlier this week on Monday. On Monday, in a video, we had Tiny Jens, Tiny Agnes, and Tiny Boo sailing across the ocean blue. God dang, I'm a poet. Now in this announcement trailer announcing that announcements would be coming later this week, we really didn't get too much other than a setting of the scene. The scene for all of the mob vote reveals this year is going to be this boat, basically sailing around the world, dropping the devs off in different locations, and eventually running into different interesting mobs. So with this scene of the Great Ocean Blue set for us and the devs off on some kind of sailing journey, the next stop would be, well, terrible leaks. Terrible, no good, very, very bad leaks. Now you know me, you're never tinfoil hat wearing lad over here. Conspiracy theory, a leak? Nah, it's not for me, never, never. I could never believe it. And this leak, ooh, this disgusting leak. It was so fake and so bad. Thankfully, it turned out to not be accurate, but it also kind of was. Anyways, incoming crabs. You've got crabs. Yeah, that's right. Or maybe you'll have crabs if these get added to the Minecraft update 1.21. Hey, by the way, can't believe I haven't said yet, but for every single mob we're going to talk about today, it's just going to be straight cold hard facts and a little bit of speculation. The first mob to be revealed for this year's mob vote was the crab. The ship was sailing until it stopped. The devs stopped, they take a look with their spy glasses, and then for some reason, Dramatic Vu decides to send himself all the way down into the blue. After that, Jeb zooms in with a spyglass and notices that there are some crabs crawling around on the side of a mangrove tree and coincidentally waving as well. Zooming in, getting a little bit closer, in the water we can see a crab claw floating. That's going to be a big item with the crab, but we'll come back to it. Over on the land, we got Boo walking around and then gets scared. The crab said boo. Okay, look. They're all out of my system. I won't do it again. Anyways, in the rest of the video, the spyglass zooms in and we got a whole scene of Boo standing inside of a swamp with crabs waving. One of the crab's claws is really, really big. And that's very notable. Aside from the 2 facts of the crab, it exists and you'll be able to vote for it in this year's mob vote. The big bit of information that we got from the reveal video is the fact that it has one gigantic claw. And that claw is going to be an item we'll be able to use. In the devs' own word themselves, this giant claw is very special because if a player manages to find one, they can use it to place blocks farther away. Swing it over to our mob vote world to test this out a little bit. Block reach. In vanilla Minecraft, if I were to stand on this block right here, I could just barely reach that block over there. If I was trying to build, that's like a decently far reach, but imagine being able to reach say 3 more blocks, or heck, even 1 more block. Based off of how it was described, the player will have to get lucky and find one of these crab claws, and then if you have the crab claw, presumably maybe in your offhand slot or something, then you're going to be able to place blocks a little bit farther away. Now what they didn't say is you'll be able to break blocks a little bit farther away, so that's interesting. I would kind of assume that probably just comes with it, but I guess you never know. And they also didn't say you'll be able to reach farther, so maybe hit mobs a little bit farther away too. They didn't really say. Now the interesting thing about the crab is, in my opinion, where you find this crab. This crab is not going to be just any type of crab. Instead, it's going to be the mangrove swamp crab. Nah, not like a beach crab or nothing like that. It's off to the mangrove swamp. In the grand scheme of a Minecraft world, of course, you know how it goes. It's random. Maybe you got really, really lucky and the mangrove swamp is literally your spawn. Or maybe you're a little bit less lucky and your mangrove swamp is thousands of blocks away. Either way though, it's gonna be the mangrove swamp. From looking back at the mob vote reveal of the crab, it looks like the mangrove swamp though is maybe honestly the perfect location for it. One of the big things showcased with the crab is this whole vertical movement thing. Oh yeah, and the fact that there's a random claw floating. Vertical movement thing, yes, the mangrove swamp biome is almost like a biome designed perfectly for it. I really wonder if this whole vertical movement is going to be kind of like the Spoder friend over there, where it walks up to a block and kind of can just climb up. If that's the case, that could make getting a crab claw a little bit more tricky, but it could be kind of a fun game, right? Run around the swamp, climb the trees, chase the frog. Excuse me, chase a crab, not the frog. The frog was just added to this place, and yeah, anyways, that's beside the point. How in the world will you be able to get this crab claw? So this bit is all speculation, but based off of Mojang's recent track record with newer real-world mobs, axolotl, goat, and frogs, it's probably safe to assume that if you walk up to a crab and smack the crab, you will probably not get the actual drop. If I had to guess, the crab is probably going to molt its claw off, meaning like, you give it a little bit of time and maybe, for some reason, it decides to drop it. I imagine it happening kind of like how it happens with the goat and the horn, when this mob ever decides to ram its head into something. Technically speaking though, it's all just speculation. We don't know for sure. I feel like the fact that there's crabs walking around and a random claw floating is maybe a hint that somehow like a crab could drop a claw and yeah, the crab would just survive. How it was described, the crab claw is a tool for builders. One final interesting thing to note here is the fact that on Minecraft Java and Minecraft Bedrock, block reach is actually a little bit different. On Bedrock Edition, you can reach a little bit farther, only like slightly, but yeah, you could definitely reach farther. So maybe if this thing gets added, it's actually parody update in disguise. So anyways, moving on from the mangrove swamp biome right here, over to the savanna biome. Taking things in chronological order here, on Wednesday, we got the big reveal of the armadillo, potentially for Minecraft 1.21. Carrying on with our vibey adventure here, now we apparently seem to have ditched Vu completely inside of the mangrove swamp biome with the crabs. Hopefully he's not eaten. For some strange reason, Jeb gets the impulse to ditch the big boat, jump into the small boat, and sail across the land and actually sail and cruise really quickly until eventually, slam! Jeb hits something. It looks like a block at first. He walks around and, oh, poor Jeb. He's always getting like traumatized and stuff. So our dear friend Jeb here was sailing on land, using a little bit of speed hacks or something until, boom, he hits something. Except this time, it's not one of those really giant, expensive pots. No, instead, Jeb has decided to slam himself straight into an armadillo, the second mob that we could vote in this year's mob vote. Now the armadillo, in my humble opinion, absolutely 100% adorable, so that's pretty cool. Also apparently timid. The armadillo gets scared and runs off, but before it runs off, it drops something. That thing that it drops, well, it's actually pretty familiar. It's called Scoop. Bonzo, my sweet poor dear Bonzo. So have you ever had the unfortunate situation where you're doing something, your Minecraft dog is trying to be the savior, and then kaboom, something bad happens? I have. Well, great news, my friends, because if the armadillo gets added to the game, a new version of Scoot will also be added to the game that'll drop from the armadillo and actually be able to be crafted into wolf armor, dog armor, fursuit. Fursuit. They're adding fursuits to Minecraft. Nice. So the first thing that comes to mind is Scoot. Hey, wait a second, that's probably familiar if you're familiar with the Minecraft features. Yeah, so currently we have Scoot in the game. It's just called the plain old Scoot. It'll be interesting to see if this thing gets added to the game. Will this be like, maybe just retextured or recolored or what? Is it just a universal Scoot item all of a sudden? If we watch the reveal back a little bit and pay close attention to what goes on here, it looks like almost for sure, just like how I assume it'll work with the crab, the Scoot is just gonna drop from the armadillo. That doesn't mean you run around and like slay, hunt these things or anything like that. Probably give it time, maybe scare it or something like that, and it drops a piece of its shell on the ground. I would assume you have to do this a couple times, and then eventually you can craft the armor. Another thing I caught from this video is it looks like it's sensitive to movement. Jeb is sailing by, and then all of a sudden the armadillo like gets scared behind the tree, and then the other one, it kind of like wakes up. I'm not too sure if it's a quirk of the video or what, but it seems like when Jeb was sailing the boat, he like slammed in, bumped into the armadillo as well. So does that mean this mob is like, it's a mob that walks around but then locks up, shells up into a solid, almost like a block or something? Because that'd be pretty cool. No, yeah, and if I haven't made it abundantly clear by now, this mob will be located inside of the savanna biome. It'll be interesting to see if this includes all versions of the savanna, like the eroded savanna or whatever you want to call that nowadays. Shattered? I don't know. I think they changed the name. So to recap the cold hard facts for us here real quick, the armadillo is a savanna living mob. Inside of the savanna, you'll be able to find this thing, and from time to time, it'll drop a piece of Scoot. You can then take that Scoot back to your base or really wherever and craft it into wolf armor. Armor for your dog. From the proper blog post itself, we don't get really any more additional information on the armadillo. We get a little bit of vibe and scene setting, but yeah, that's just about it. Now, unlike the crab, I don't see anybody complaining about the idea that the armadillo should live inside of the savanna biome, and maybe help fill it up a little bit more. After all, this is a really old biome, and hey, wait a second. Wasn't this place waiting for like an update or something? I don't remember. Now, only for science here, the one big thing that I do keep seeing people point out is remember how damage works. Not every single type of damage in Minecraft is actually protected by armor. For example, something like the husk maybe attacking the wolf back a little bit, yeah, the armor should definitely help the wolf there. But on the other hand, something like falling into an unfortunate pit of fire and lava, yeah, falling into fire and lava, maybe that's not really gonna help the wolf so much. The same with fall damage too. I suppose there is also the question, should wolf armor be locked behind scoot or should it be crafted with something else? Kind of like horse armor. Anyways, though, that's besides the point. The armadillo, it's all about making your favorite best boy a little bit safer. So far, we've got a crab that potentially lives inside of the mangrove swamp biome, or maybe an armadillo that lives inside of the savanna biome. It seems like for sure the theme is warm mobs so far, right? Well, yes, but also no. For our next and final stop of the day, lads, we set ourselves over to the stony shore biome and whoa, wait a second. Are those penguins all over the stony shore? Dotting the land like little dots across the land? No way. Lads, laddies, everybody, here we are. We've made it to today, sweet today. Today, just a little bit ago, the third and final mob for this year's mob vote was revealed. Its name? Well, that's the penguin. Like the armadillo a second ago, we'll start with the blog post here. From the blog post, we don't get much information other than it can go on land and inside of water. However, on land, it's gonna be a little bit clumsy. In water, it's really quick though. Earlier on in our adventures, Vu was left to be fully consumed by crabs. After that, Jeb was left to be eaten by armadillos. Oh boy, it looks like Lady Agnes has a lot of human rights violations on her hands this year. That's not too hot. Anyways, the third and final mob vote trailer kicks off in a beautiful sunset. Love the aesthetics of these trailers, always they're fire. Then all of a sudden it's nighttime, and for some reason, Agnes decides pollution. Agnes decides pollution is great. At nighttime, the lantern falls into the water, and wait, what a second, who are those, and what are they wearing? What in the world is that hat going on? We got penguins all over the water looking at the lantern. From the looks of things, they're swimming really, really good, and actually even from time to time, jumping out of the water pretty cleanly too. It's pretty funny that it walks around on the land and there's the whole clumsy thing, it falls all the way down into the water. Oh no. Based off of the acrobatics that we're seeing inside of this video, it looks like not only if penguins make it into the game are they going to be good swimmers, but they're going to be able to jump pretty far too. Like that is a couple blocks solidly all the way up onto the top of the giant starter base from my survival series 1.19. Very interestingly, unlike with the other mobs we've seen today, it was clearly stated that there are going to be baby penguins if they're added to the game too. Now, as we can kind of see from this flock of penguins that we have over here, penguin, the animal, this is going to be a very social mob, which means you're going to be able to find these things in groups. More specifically, you'll find them in groups at the stony shore biome. You might think like frozen ocean, iceberg land, something like that. No. It's just going to be the stony shore. That's going to make the penguin, theoretically, relatively common. Biome-wise, keep in mind that the stony shore can not only form in warm areas, but also in relatively neutral areas as well, like say a forest, a taiga, or even a cold area. The stony shore, it's literally just the border of the ocean. It doesn't matter. Functionality-wise, oh boy, this penguin is interesting. So you'll be inside of your Minecraft world, you'll locate the stony shore biome, you sail over to it. Hopefully you find a couple rockhopper penguins sitting around, and then they decided to like follow you while you're sailing. If they do, your boat will be sped up somehow. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of sad, but they didn't say exactly how this whole penguin speeding up the boat mechanic is actually going to work. Does the penguin have to be inside of the boat? Or kind of like how the dolphin is when you're swimming? Will the penguin just swim next to the boat and speed it up? Mob-wise, we don't really have penguins in the game. I think the closest thing we have to it is the frog. So imagine that frog is a penguin. I'll put the penguin inside of my boat, and if it works like this, then all of a sudden I wonder if you'll be able to actually sail like really, really quickly on land. Because potentially that could be a really nice buff. However, if you're trying to like use the boat to move anything other than the penguin, maybe not so much. On the other hand, we can take a look at some of the mechanics already in the game as of Minecraft 1.20. The dolphin, check this out. When I sail, naturally, inherently, instinctually, the dolphin wants to sail with me. However, the dolphin is not speeding up the boat or anything like that. The speed up effect happens when you yourself jump in the water. Then you get Dolphin's Grace, and as you might know, Dolphin's Grace is a pretty crazy buff. Like, you swim a whole lot faster with this thing. It's pretty amazing. So it's kind of like the dolphin, except not really like the dolphin at all. The penguin's effect, it deals with boats and stuff. Now, fortunately here, for our dear penguin friend, or kind of unfortunately, there is no specific item drop that was stated that's gonna happen with the penguin. Unlike the armadillo, unlike the crab that we saw before, the penguin, it's just a mob that exists. But keep in mind that the devs could always change the mobs and expand on them a little bit later on. But that's not a great reason to vote for the mob, is it? When it comes to information on each of the mobs, to be honest, the penguin is the mob that we have the least amount of information. One final thing that I would like to pop back into your mind before you consider if you're gonna vote for this guy is Ice Boat Road. Remember how quick that thing is. Imagine being able to speed that up even faster somehow with a penguin. Oh boy. A crab that drops its claw that'll extend reach a little bit. An armadillo that drops scoop that you can make into dog armor. Or a penguin that speeds up your boat while you're sailing in it just a little bit. And so, for a mainly unbiased look at all of the mob vote mobs for this year's mob vote, that's just about it. Now, mob vote, when does it happen? As highlighted in every single mob vote article and also all of the trailers as well, this year's mob vote kicks off on October 13th, 2 days before Minecraft Live. If you like the mob vote and the idea of getting up close and personal with this thing, well, great news. You'll be able to jump on a server just like last year and actually vote in game. You'll also be able to vote on the Minecraft website. The winner of this year's mob vote will be revealed on October 15th at Minecraft Live. I'll have a recap video right after Minecraft Live talking about that and all of Minecraft 1.21. So keep your eyes out. The only final thing that I think I would like to leave you with today is, they said they were going to hint at these mobs in the old articles. Now that we know the mobs, did they trick us? Like, did they even hint at any of these mobs at all? Like what? The penguin, the crab, the armadillo. That's Minecraft Mob Vote 2023, and this is me, Waddles. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet and you don't mind, do me one of the world's biggest favors of all time and delete that like button. It'll let YouTube know that this video is all legit and it should send it worldwide internationally. Oh, and subscribe, notifications on. Big videos coming soon. Who are you gonna vote for? Let me know down below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.